children of various ages take up challenges according to their ability. Whichever is appropriate to their ability, they kind of keep taking up challenges, be it hurdle jumps, be it jumping over pillows, be it bouncing on the sofa, on the couches, on the bed, right? Whatever they have taken is in accordance with the physical ability that they have acquired, as well as the mental ability that kind of triggers them that yes, you can do this with the ability that you have. So yes, children take up various challenges, again appropriate to their age. Sometimes what happens is, though the challenge that the child has taken is of good intention according to the child, sometimes with the interference of an adult, it gets changed to a challenge of not the right intention. I don't say it's a bad intention, but it's something that was not an intended intention. It was not intended by the child to do so. So let me give you an example. Just imagine there is a bed and there is a wall, and there is some gap between the wall and the bed, right? Only a little gap, only where maybe a child can fit into it. So maybe your 1-year-old or your 14-year-old, 14-month-old, whoever, whatever age the child is of, after picking up the walking skill, he is kind of trying to get into the gap. Right? Maybe even when he was crawling, he was trying to get into the gap, and right when the adult has noticed that the child was trying to do this, maybe the adult said, no, 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 you would get hurt, no, 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 there is a stranger inside, no, no, there is a monster inside, you shouldn't be doing that, or the various threats and the other statements that parents usually use. You know what kind of statements you use, and you know what are all these. So I'm not going into much of that. So when the child, again getting back to this example, when the child is trying to foot into this gap that's present between the wall and the bed, the child very well knows what the challenge is. The challenge is to get past the gap without getting any hurt, maybe carefully, or taking care of his safety, right? And very importantly, listen to this, and he is guided by his intuition, right? He just doesn't go blindly from this corner to that corner. I'll tell you when he actually goes blindly from this corner to that corner without thinking. That happens, but it happens not in this instant. That does not happen when he is truly guided by his intuition, right? Okay, so the first time the child is going into this gap, the child kind of goes a little ahead, watches this way, that way, at the wall and at the bed, and then again tries to go ahead. Maybe just imagine there is a very, very narrow gap, okay? The child is just trying to fit in and then come from the other end of that passage, right? So the child is doing it. So yes, he is guided by his intuition. That's a very, very powerful guiding force for any human out there. He is guided by the child is guided by this, his or her intuition. So the child is going in, looking here and there, and again going in, looking here and there, going in, looking here and there. And in this journey of being guided by his intuition to achieve the success for the challenge that he has taken up, when this act of his is seen by the adult around, be it anybody, adult around, from who is looking at the child, looking at what the child is from a different perspective. No, you will be getting hurt there. No, you're not supposed to do that. Good boys don't do that. Good girls don't do that. Why do you want to get into that narrow gap? How many times I have told you not to do that? You will end up getting hurt, and then only you will understand what is going to happen to you. And then we have to run to the hospital, run to the doctor, right? And all the other threats and all the other statements that adults tend to use for a child, from operating from a different perspective. Okay, so when the child is constantly bombarded by such statements, no, you are not supposed to do that, no, you are not supposed to go there, the challenge that the child has taken, right, the challenge that the child has taken to get past, guided by his intuition, is a little changed now, will get changed now. So now the child has been umpteen number of times, the same child has been maybe judged, maybe labeled, saying, why do you still want to do it, you don't listen to me, the usual statements again. So now what the child takes up as a challenge is, are yaar, this parent or again this adult, they don't allow me to go through this, so let me just get past this gap before they see me, right? Before they see me, let me just get past this gap before they see me. So now his focus is diverted. His focus is no more on his safety. He is no more guided by his intuition. His focus is all about completing the task, finishing up the task before he gets noticed by the adult, right? Sneaking or this kind of doing, I mean, even an infant, he puts a crayon into the mouth just before my parent sees me, my mother sees me, let me just put this in my mouth, right? So the challenge that they have taken of exploring, of experimenting, of being guided by the intuition and of becoming successful at the other end of that passage is now moved, is now changed, is now modified, right? The challenge is now modified to taking up a challenge. What is the challenge now? The child's challenge now at this point of time is, let me just get past this gap, this passage before my parent sees me. That's all. At this point of time, with this unintended intention of unintended challenge of his, this is when he may get hurt, because he is not taking care, maybe he is not, his focus is not on the bed, on the gap and on his body, but his focus is on, is the parent looking at me, let me just get past before the parent looks at me, right? So when the focus shifts, the result changes, right? So the again, a spiritual being or a true being who is actually guided by his intuition, who has taken up a challenge which is appropriate to his age, to his physical ability, to his mental ability, has now moved his challenge in a certain unintentional way, right? That was a healthy challenge for him. Remember, that was a healthy challenge for him to get past the gap, the narrow gap, unless and until it's a life-threatening situation. Okay, let me not get into these extremes. When it is safe, when there is safety, that you trust that yes, this is safe, and then the child is being conscious of his own safety, the child is guided by his intuition, then when you are fearing the child, when you are passing down your fears to your child, then the challenge that he or she has taken up is now modified to an unintentional challenge of, let me just get through this before my parent sees, and that is when he gets into trouble, right? And then a lot more of judging and blaming and labeling and shaming happens. Again, you know of all that, right? So whenever, again, so what is your role at that point of time? You can just be with the child and pass on your trust to the child, right? You can pass on your trust instead of passing on your fears, instead of passing on your threats, you can pass on your trust to your child, right? And then once you believe you have that inner power that's guiding you, the intuition that's guiding you, you will get all your answers from within, right? You will get your answers from within. Any specific questions about this video or about any experience that you've had recently, just ping me, just DM me, and I would be glad to help you out. Cheers, bye-bye.